state, this is Weather World.
Hello, everybody. I'm Fred Godomsky. Welcome to the new Weather World. Labor Day weekend, end of the traditional summer. Is this the end of summer weather?
No, it isn't, Fred. As a matter of fact, it is not the end of summer weather for any of us. In fact, we're going to have another very hot, humid day coming up tomorrow.
Well, there was a flash from the past, Fred. 35 years ago, of course, it was a few days later in the month, but the weather this weekend is still pretty hot.
As you said to me up in the office, it's the famous 35-year cycle, and the hot weather is going to continue.
Okay, we will get the specifics from Fred about that in just a moment. Also tonight, it'll be the extended forecast, and there'll be lots of celebration about 35 years of Weather World and a few other important things that are coming up. First of all, with the weather, here's Fred.
And indeed, it was hot 35 years ago on Labor Day, and it is hot again today. In fact, the temperatures in many parts of the Commonwealth are within a few degrees. It was a day in the 90s in the southeast back then. It is again this time around. There was a big ridge of high pressure, just like there is now. As I say, it's the 35-year cycle. Now, there has been some cooling where there have been a few thunder showers. Notice only 71 down in Bradford. But for the most part, upper 80s, low 90s. And the dew points aren't helping the way it feels out there. As we have said all summer, when you're in the dark green and orange, it's not very comfortable. And it is feeling pretty dark green and orange out there today with temperatures, or rather dew point temperatures in the upper 60s and low to mid 70s. Here's a look at how the satellite picture is unfolding. And we had some fog to start in many of the valleys, but then these thunder showers have grown up on the Lake Breeze front or convergence area there. The real front is a little farther back. These showers and thunder showers that have been playing through northern and a few isolated in eastern Pennsylvania will be dissipating as the sun sets. Here's a look at how it comes from the radar perspective. Once again, not much happening, and then a little boom, and there you see that line or broken line that's in northern Pennsylvania right now, and a couple of isolateds elsewhere. But there's also a more significant storm system occurring you'll be hearing about. This is Tropical Storm Gordon there in South Florida, running across the southern part of the state and now off the west coast. It has made for a really ugly Labor Day holiday in much of southern Florida, and it's going to be heading on a beeline northwest so that by tomorrow evening it's going to be approaching the central Gulf Coast close to Mississippi, it appears, as a tropical storm. And here's how it looks on the wide view of the satellite picture. There's the tropical storm moving across Florida. There's the main front. As you can see, it's pretty far back to the north and west. And so we've still got a little while, a few days yet, to sit in the hot, humid air. Even though meteorological autumn has arrived, it's still summer. And here's a look at the evening weather map. There's the tropical storm to our south. That's not going to be a problem for us. We're sitting under high pressure. This front's struggling to come through anytime soon. Here's how things will evolve over the next 24 hours. Notice high pressure builds across to the north. Eventually, that's going to turn our wind around to the east late in the week, and that is going to change our air mass, but we'll have to wait a little bit for that. There's the tropical storm, as I say. That will be a big newsmaker for the folks along the central Gulf Coast, mainly in the form of extra rain and some gusty winds. So here's how it summarizes for us. Those thunder showers that are around, they'll be vanishing, but the muggies will remain. It'll stay warm and stuffy overnight. Temperatures not getting below the 70s over most of southeastern Pennsylvania, even upper 60s where it gets coolest. And notice partly moony in much of the state. Then sultry September sizzle. Look at these numbers. Once again, low to perhaps mid-90s, oppressive humidity, light winds. There will be that early fog again, a kind of a replay of today with sun mixing with some clouds, and warm enough for just about everybody. And then going ahead to the day on Wednesday, autumn remains absent without leave. Humid, light winds, sun and puffy clouds, temperatures in the 90s in the east, upper 80s even in the cool spots, just a few scattered thunder showers. And we'll be back in a moment with more.
As we look into this extended forecast period, Thursday through next Monday, the second full weekend of the month of September, we'll see a pattern that will start out very warm and maybe turn out very warm at the very end. But in between, there'll be some showers and also at least some relief for a day or so. Here's the way things have been looking at the movement of water vapor for the past 2.5 days across the North American continent. Notice how Gordon spins up rather quickly out of just a little wave as it moves into the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. Pacific remains very active. The real message is that the flow continues out of the southwest well to our north, which means the jet stream is way far away from us, and that will continue to be the case even as we look at the European Center forecast starting on Thursday. And there's the jet stream right along the U.S.-Canadian border. We're still in the midst of a big heat wave, but we're going to see some middle-aged sag, as we might call it, and that is that the big high will go away, and instead we'll get a front that will sag through us, and then an important disturbance will run up the St. Lawrence Valley before another ridge or ridge builds once again early part of next week. This underneath, by the way, this little disturbance that you'll see coming by is Florence, and that Florence may threaten at least Bermuda sometime at the beginning of next week. So that's still a while away, but it's not going away anytime soon. We will get a little bit of relief as the jet stream sags to our south. Here's the moisture tracker, and certainly on Thursday, still very humid. We're in the oranges. And then notice how on Thursday afternoon, there's some drier air just to the north. By the time we get to Friday afternoon, the really humid air has been pushed to the south, and we're in noticeably drier air. Saturday looks pretty good, except it starts to get humid again in the south and the west. Now, Sunday is an interesting challenge because I think a storm will run up to our west, and that should bring humid air back in. And then Monday, I just don't believe that. I think the European timing is off with that, but we'll see it when we look at the details of the forecast. The front sags through on Thursday. Half of us get a shower. Friday, the front stalls to our south. The clouds shrink from north to south. It gets a bit drier. Maybe in the far south, it could be a shower. Front returns on Saturday, especially in the south and the west, where there'll be more clouds, and most of us will see a shower late Saturday into early Sunday. Sunday, that storm goes up to our west, so it'll be humid again, and maybe some big thunderstorms Sunday afternoon. And then Monday, I think it clears, it becomes less humid, and temperatures return to closer to seasonal levels. We'll have more in just a moment.
Congratulations, Paul and Fred. Here's to 35 years of Weather World.
Folks have accused us of horsing around just a little too much here on Weather World.
But that's just a small part of the radiation story.
But inside this cabin, deep in the woods of Pennsylvania,
And he had a very special reverence for rain.
For tonight, another rather sticky night. The more humid air will start to return.
The greenhouse has long been a symbol of life-giving warmth on even the coldest days.
How many air travelers have you heard say, oh, we just hit an air pocket when you run into one of those bumpy rides on an airplane?
The world's largest chocolate factory, where everybody here must wear a hairnet.
I've just awakened from one of those long winter's naps that we take here in the weather station from time to time.
A time when life seemed simpler, but the weather was just as unusual.
The visibility isn't what it could be out here, and I don't think that was in the forecast.
The vapor will condense back into water. Now the kettle can be likened to the ocean water heated by the sun's rays.
I didn't know it was your lucky weather forecasting flipping coin. I thought this was your lucky weather forecasting wishing well.
Whoa, hey guys. Hey, all is not lost.
And even on a cloudy day, we get plenty of solar radiation. You do the honors part.
My pleasure, sir.
Well, that was quite a reminiscing, wasn't it, Fred?
What I remember is Grenzy would do just about anything.
He would jump off the 10-meter board even. Yeah.
Indeed, but yeah, those were all those features that we did so many hundreds of when we were starting this out back in the 80s.
And when we had a little bit more zip in our step, I'd say.
Yes, well, such is life, as they say.
Now, Fred, of course, there's changes in the wind, and I understand there's some changes expected for you, too.
Well, you know, Weather World, of course, has been sailing along the airwaves here now for 35 years, and it's going to continue to sail along as it has. I like to call it the good ship, Weather World. But I have decided that, I was looking around and I said, gee, this is an interesting spot, an interesting time and place to disembark from the good ship Weather World. So I'm going to actually, you'll be seeing much less of me in the days ahead because I'm doing what you did a little while ago. You notice he comes back. I'm retiring, so we're going to pass this along. Why am I retiring? Because, you see, I know there's a misty, distant future out there. I intend to explore it and find out what the weather's like.
Well said, Fred. And we also want to wish you the very best. And I'm going to quote from the old bard himself, Shakespeare, since you are a master at the words. May your life exempt from public duties, and hopefully that includes coming back on Weather World, find tongues in trees, books in running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything. Congratulations, Fred. And here's some
From
other.
the class of 2003.
From the class of 2007.
From the class of 2013.
From the class of 2018.
Thank you from the ABC 27 Weather Team in Harrisburg.
Congratulations from all of us at the National Weather Service offices in State College. Best wishes and keep cooking with gas.
Congratulations, Fred, on a well-deserved retirement. It's been a pleasure sharing an office with you over the past couple of years, and hopefully you can enjoy some more extended trips to Hawaii in the near future.
We are so excited for you, Fred. We worked for you for 2 years and 2 years, and I know for me, my forecasting skills are better because of you.
And I'll tell you what, Fred, we talk about the 12-day trend on Weather World. The 30-year trend looks like all sunshine and blue sky for you.
I learned so much from you, Fred, when I worked with the New York Times group. No one mixes wisdom with absurd humor quite like you do.
From all of us at RMS, congrats, Fred!
We want to say it was a pleasure getting the opportunity to learn from you. And
happy retirement!
Fred, thank you for sharing all of your knowledge with the WeatherCom students, and best of luck with that misty, distant future.
From the Penn State alumni at Radiant Solutions,
congratulations, Fred!
Fred, from everyone here at AccuWeather, congratulations. I hope you have a great retirement.
Congratulations! Let's take a gander at the old screaming message. Congratulations on your retirement, Fred.
Enjoy your post life from Maria. And from Jillian as well. If it wasn't for you and Weather World, I probably would not be here at the Weather Channel working with these lovely people. So thank you so much.
And for being such a fun instructor for my first broadcast meteorology class and getting us that starting point.
Fred, congratulations on a legendary and inspirational career.
Hi, Fred. Your friends here at Weather World are dedicated to the proposition that your retirement is filled with fun and adventure.
We're sending you well wishes that you can take to the bank.
May your future be misty and distant in a good way.
May the wind always be at your back.
And may all your checkerboards be amazing.